What's up, everyone? We are live, and we're taking a look at the Geico 500 at Talladega Breakdown NASCAR. Let's do this thing. My name's Kevin Alec, the Geek. I got Taco with me, and we're breaking it all down for you guys today. I love these super speedways, Taco.
Hell yeah.
We
started the season with, and we're back to them.
So much carnage, so much strategy, so different from all other races. Different from the other tracks. So I'm excited to break this one down. How many laps is this, Taco?
188.
Yeah. So 188 laps for a Cup Series. That's about as low as it gets, no?
2.5 miler. They had the caution prop at 6.5, so they're expecting 4.5 non-stage cautions. And then the number of drivers on the lead lap was heavily favored to the over 27.5.
Whoa.
With it being a 2.5 mile track, yeah, it's kind of easy to stay on the lead lap here as long as you aren't on the wrecker. And yeah, we've seen the past people been able to finish on the lead lap with half their car held together by flex tape.
I don't understand, why is this less carnagey than Daytona? What's the difference?
It's just a different type of carnage. At Talladega, the wrecks are kind of bigger, but they're not as guaranteed as Daytona. We've had things like the 2019 race where there were no cautions. Just 2 races ago here, actually, there were no cautions.
No cautions.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to.
The field still will get shaken up tremendously, especially recently at the super speedway racing. We've seen the field constantly being shaken up. Sometimes you don't even need like a full-on like big one to have like carnage here, just because people like you guys like Corey LaJoie can legitimately just coast from the deep 30s up to the top 5 even. But we still will most likely see a big ass wreck.
It's wild because this race in particular is really unique compared to others in that we have a lot of studs starting from the back. There's been some weird circumstances, so a lot of the best
use our salary for once at Talladega. Really? That is a rarity. No, we've got hella good plays that are like 10K plus. We've got a great play that's 11K. You might have no salary left in the lineup, and it's actually good, which is like so rare for a super speedway.
What I don't like about this Taco is going to train people to spend the salary. So a lot of people still haven't figured out super speedways, and we've had this really figured out for years.
Like yesterday, you wanted to spend like nothing.
Yeah,
in Xfinity.
People
and
are
so many dead lineups are out there.
I feel like people are uncomfortable with that unless they've been doing this for a long time.
People were playing Austin Hill yesterday.
Yeah, I know. Austin Hill was owned. Like I was like, what is going on here? So let's talk about results for the last couple weeks here. I just want to show this because of course we get your trolls on occasion. So we've been on a run at DFS Army. It goes years. I mean, it's just been a thing with NASCAR. We're just crushing it week after week, but we don't always show it on this breakdown. So I'm going to hit that like button if you like big wins. By the way, and if you guys are out there, because listen, this is my lineup from last week. Took down a tournament on Sunday. Great. But look at the score, 352. This was a handcraft. Here's that lineup. It took first in a few different contests. Great. Right. Amazing notes last week, Taco.
Hey.
But how about sliders, aka Bengal Tiger, 10K winner last week. I want you to pay attention. Coulter. All right. Oh, only $150. This is a nickel contest. That's a nickel contest.
That ROI.
Yeah, that ROI is crazy. How about Tangled Snow and Sliders in another contest? Actually, did Sliders get a price adjustment at the end here? I don't know. Actually, this is the same one. I think he moved up to third. You got Tangled Snow in fifth. So you got 2 in the top 10 last week. How about there's another one Sick Hemi. How about Sick Hemi puts up a score good enough to win the 100K in the mini max and takes it down first place. This is all last week, guys. Here's yesterday. Oh, guess what? Oh shit, took another one down. Unfortunately, I was in the lug nut. I told you I got in there a little too late to get in the big contest.
I reserved the day before, big dog.
Yeah, I didn't know if I didn't expect.
We put up 337s. Come on,
I wasn't even sure if I was going to play Xfinity yesterday. There was a good basketball slate, and I just want to point out one more winner from last week because it's hard to ignore this. Fins in this quarter game on just 20 entries outscored the 100K winner in the $15 contest. Yeah, that's rough. Wish you put that one in the 15, Finn. But still an awesome score, and speaks really well to the coaching and notes and especially projections that you've been working on, Taco. So thank you for being awesome.
Hell yeah. It's been
and
fun.
If you guys are out there and you're still like, I watched the show, I kind of like the breakdowns, but I don't know. This is what we do in DFS Army. We're not like other sites. Our members are winning. We're taking down tournaments. Our numbers are custom. Our optimizer is our own. And this is how we win tournaments at DFS Army. This is why we've been here for this long, producing winners. This is why we have the loyalty of our members. I love all of our members. And if you're not signed up for DFS Army and you're watching this breakdown, it's time to get signed up. It's time to get in there, join the team, learn how to win at DFS, learn how to back test, learn how to do the things that we teach in DFS Army that our sharper members are doing. Our winners, if you're in DFS Army, you haven't been winning, you're probably not doing these things. But if you're in the chat and you're asking around and you see the winners, you're like, well, what do you do? They're like, I back test every slate. I listen, I strategize. I try to learn how to use these tools the best we can. I participate in the back tests that we do to learn the game of DFS. If you can't produce a winner in back test, you're not going to do it in forward testing. So we have a lot of things that we do in DFS Army to help our members learn how to be sharper players and how to win and how to compete on a level playing field with DFS pros, because really that's what we're trying to do here. We're leveling the playing field and making the DFS ecosystem a better place for everybody. So get in there, sign up, promo code TACO, 10% off, motherfuckers.
Hey, yeah, I like that concept. We ain't playing. We're forward testing.
That is what you're doing, isn't it?
Hell yeah.
We're forward testing. I say if I can't do it in back test, I'm not going to do it without the knowledge of hindsight. So you better fucking get it right. All right. Talladega. So let's get back to Talladega thoughts, Taco. And I want to go. So what's the most important thing? We have our very important tabs that we look at every week on this breakdown, and we're going to go to the historical scoring. I'm still trying to understand why this is less carnagey than Daytona, but what I do see here is the what I would expect, which is, you know what,
26 and back, very similar to Daytona, right?
It's less dramatic than Daytona is.
Yep.
So, all right. How does it work on a super speedway? On a super speedway, we don't have as many laps to go around, and the fast laps tend not to go to the front, the cars in the front. So that results in a scenario where place differential is the king. That's the only real, let's say, force that produces a big score. It's place diff, right? And so you see it here playing out. But I will say this, Taco, this is less dramatic than what I'm used to for Daytona. But we do see that the driver starting the furthest back, or at least in the bottom 10, tend to outscore the driver starting up front. But Taco, this is less dramatic than I was expecting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the track I go to every year. Although the spring race is the one that I do like to watch from home. Go to the fall races here. And it's been a lot of green flag racing. But when the wrecks have happened, they have indeed been big. So, like, again, Daytona, you're getting more quantity of wrecks. And usually Daytona is more like foolproof for, okay, there's absolutely going to be a big one. We still have that possibility of it being a mostly green flag race that always kind of looms here, especially in the spring race, but it's still most likely. Yeah, it's most likely we're going to be seeing at least like one pretty substantial wreck here. You will see guys starting from the back, of course, 25th on back, very similar to Daytona, just averaging it really well. And we have not seen I think the trend was the optimal over the last many years, going back through the next gen car. I don't think we've seen a non-Penske car starting top 10 and being optimal. It's really just been like Ryan Blaney, who's been on an absolute heater here, starting like 5th and winning the race. That like is like the 5th highest score. But really, the highest scores that we've seen have still been the guys starting back in the 30s. They're just, I mean, you saw in the Xfinity race, right? Like everybody was optimal with the wrecks, like, or everybody was unique up top. There were like no real ties or anything, especially with all the chalk going down. The chalk just got kind of obliterated.
The nuts, there was no nuts being scored.
Not even close. It's really just about not having turds. Like I was able to cash with lineups that had like wrecks in it, which is pretty rare. Of course, that was a more extreme sort of race at the end there with everything, wrecking the overtimes and whatnot. Here you could absolutely see that here.
That couldn't have went any better for me at the end with all those wrecks.
Yeah,
I definitely played it. I played it that way.
And there were wrecks from the front, like the fades wrecking. It was really nice.
Yeah.
If we have something like that here again, just having these carnage survival type races, absolutely crucial. You can see the top scores ever here, of course, all just coming from deep in the 30s. But I mean, look at the last race here. Most of your top scorers, again, there's the Blaney starting from the top 10, but yeah, it's just guys like Corey LaJoie starting all the way in the back and finishing all the way in the front.
Let's study these. I haven't looked at this pre-breakdown. So I think this is one of the most important screens that we're going to be using for this research. Guys who get bored with doing research based on spreadsheets and data, I don't know, entertain yourselves for a few minutes here while we do this. But this is really important. I love looking at the historical wins. So let's just look at the last few races, Taco, and explain to me what happened, because I don't remember. I don't remember. All right, so here we go.
Well, I definitely remember this.
The most recent, Colo, I do remember this. But the most recent one back in what is this date? What do you got? Fucking European dates here? What is this shit?
It's the 31st race of the year.
Oh, that's what the 31's.
This is the fall race. I was here.
Okay, that's how that works. Okay, all right. The fall race last year. This is during football season. Race. This is during football season. Yep. I didn't play this.
You were not caring.
Yeah, I didn't even play it.
Absolutely.
Colo,
I was there. I got you.
Colo.
And we saw, Harvick once again get cucked from getting that final win. So many seconds in like his last few years of racing, but hey, I mean, again, it's just Penske is really good here. Kind of a side note, the first two super speedway races we've seen here, who has led the most laps? Can you guess?
I'm gonna guess Keselowski.
No.
Blaney?
This season, it's been Todd Gilliland. So the front row cars, they have a new Penske alliance. Penske very fucking good at super speedways, like incredibly good. Blaney's the best right now at super speedways. He's a dual Penske. McDowell, Gilliland starting first and third.
Oh, no.
They're going to have like speed, right? So it's just always been Penske. Like, the trend here really is if you're starting top 10 and you're not a Penske car, you're kind of fucked. Really, if you're not Ryan Blaney. Other than that, it's just guys from the back.
It's funny here that Blaney nailed this win. He didn't
lead a whole lot either. He just kind of finished well. Yeah.
He did not lead laps or do anything to deserve it. And he barely squeaked in there, which I think is important. These two, this 10th and 11th place guy that squeaked in for the win here, Harvick and Blaney in this most recent race, they just kind of squeaked in there. It's not like they put up a score that was like very clearly the nut.
I still don't think you even play for that because no one played Harvick. Not a damn soul played Harvick. Blaney was played a bit. This week, we don't have to worry about that because we got Blaney starting back in 21st. So this week, it seems very easy to know what to do. You can go back here again. Look who's the one guy from the top 10 making it.
Blaney, again, squeaks in. So we're going back to the fall race, the spring race from last year. Blaney squeaks in, Taco.
Yep.
But look who's in there, too. So it's important to look at the rest of it because I just want to point this out.
My boy, Eric Jones.
Let's go. Right? Here you got on the first one, a lot of play stiff guys. Here you got JJ Yelly making his way into the winning lineup. Like what?
Yes,
excuse me? Kyle Busch starting 17th had
very low scoring. Also, we only had two guys just barely break 60.
This would have been a rough one for me. I probably played this one and it probably was a rough one for me because this particular track, look what we got a 5th place starter, which I would have not played.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Kyle Busch winning it. And Kyle Busch, you don't think of him in super speedways at all.
Yeah.
So you're just like, Busch, I just ignore him.
I think he was on a hot streak at the time, too.
I didn't play him.
Yeah, he won
I was
3 races to start the season.
I played that track. I had 0 Kyle Busch, literally 0, and even less of Ryan Blaney, if that's possible. So that would not have been a very good one for me. But yeah, Keselowski from 20th. So I am seeing here, this is less dramatic place diff extremity, extremities than
like even if you just play Yaley, Jones, Gilliland, Elliott, Stenhouse, like a lineup like that still scores really, really well and could win tournaments, even if you don't have Kyle Busch. Because I also imagine he was not that popular.
Yeah, and especially outside of like a contest. When you're in the 50,000 entry contest, it's another story. But a lot of these wouldn't have been
even the big ones. You're seeing like the top like 5 to 10 optimal lineups not even being played.
It's wild.
So you almost don't have to like squeeze out the exact nuts. You don't need the nuts to win here, especially if things get dicey.
Let's go back another one here. And again, what I'm looking for is where they started, how they finished. Yeah, here's one. I mean, this is, again, it's not that these guys are
Big
getting
Ross,
great scores.
Boss.
What's that?
Big Ross, the boss here. And Eric Jones as well.
He didn't do anything.
Chastain ran top 5 that whole race. I definitely remember watching that one.
I'm shocked that he put up a score big enough.
The USA car, bro. I mean, it was the patriotism carrying him.
I am seeing that. What patriotism? What is
the
this
patriotism on that car, man? It was decked out.
Oh, he had how do you remember this?
Bro, I was there. This is my favorite track, man. I love me some Dega.
Chase Elliott starting 16th and Blaney 19th.
Castle also, who was maybe like $5,000.
You had a 3-place diff guys, but 3 top 20. Taco. And then even just outside of the top 20, Eric Jones from 12th place almost gets there. That is wild. So, yeah, these are really interesting. This is super different from Daytona. Look at this race. Another one, 19th, 12th, 14th, and 16th, all score well enough to be in the winning lineup.
Mm-hmm.
The hell is going on here?
Not much.
This is just not
many wrecks on that one.
This is just not as carnagey as what I was as what Daytona is. I'll tell you right now, this is really different.
Yep. Had a lot of guys starting up front and scoring well. It just all came down to finishing position there. And a lot of the place differentials didn't do shit because there wasn't a wreck at the very end.
Yeah. Now this one sets up really different. So this week,
this is the rain shortened race. Yeah, go back to that last one. That one was, I think that was cut in half. NASCAR was like, Bubba needs to win immediately.
The second Bubba got in first place, they were like, throw it.
Nah, I think the second there's a lightning strike, but
let's
be real here.
Mostly it was Bubba. But here Keselowski gets there from 7th place, which is, again, barely squeaks in. It's not like, dramatic, but he squeaked in, but he did get in there in the top 6, which is, again, pretty wild. And then
back when he was with Penske.
Fefo shows up in a winning lineup for once. That's pretty impressive. And Kurt Busch from 14th to 4th did enough. So listen, I went in here with one thought, Taco, and I'm coming out with another thought. Kaz Gralla, really?
Yeah, you gotta remember once we hit 2021, it's like a different car.
Yeah. I'm gonna forget 2021. We're gonna get away from that. Let's look at some of the bad scores and see how many people like destroyed your lineup. Just in some of these tracks, because it's less carnagey than
I mean, Stenhouse. Are we really surprised?
No, and Keselowski.
Chastain.
All right,
it's kind of your usual suspects.
Yeah, Larson always. All right, not as much carnage, not as much negative scoring as you'll see in a Daytona here, guys. Sorry, we spent a lot of time on this one, but I think it's the most important between this and the average by start. I think the tale has been told here, Taco. It's less carnage than what Daytona is. Probably less than even what Atlanta is.
But are you going to not play for carnage? Because that's lame.
I think I'm going to play, based on what I've just seen here, I will be less dramatic about it than I would be for a Daytona. That's all. I'm still playing for carnage. But you don't have to be as aggressive. So as aggressive with it. I think you can allow for even 2 from the top 20 here. Still not more than 1 from the top 10 though for me. What do you think? What is your takeaway?
See, I don't know. I still think that's kind of lame. The biggest thing for me on this slate is fucking Kyle Larson as the absolute chalk.
Well, we'll get into those.
Every race.
We'll get into those specific. We have like 3 massive chalk guys starting from the back. And how do we treat those guys? Effectively, what you said, right? Kyle Larson, if he finishes this race, if he makes it from the start to the finish, will be in the winning lineup. He's going to be in it. If he runs a clean race, listen, if he makes it to the end with tape.
And starting position truly does not matter. So you have a lot of these guys that would be starting like top 10 usually. That would be like threats to win the race, like Chastain, like Blaney, Hamlin, Keselowski. These guys are all starting in with baked in place differential. It's going to be very hard to get away from that. Like, I kind of just don't want to play these top 10 guys because these top 10 guys are kind of bad. Like
when you're saying top 10, to clarify for people who are listening,
guys starting top 10 this week.
Yeah, drivers in the top 10. So this particular track sets up really unique because you have so many studs, and you're fucking all the best studs are not starting in the top 20. All of them.
Yeah. If you look at the previous years, like those top 10 guys or top 15 guys that ended up in the nuts, those were kind of your usual suspects, like guys that are just good at super speedway racing.
Yeah.
That's not really who's starting in the top 10. The only people from the top 10 that you could even really consider would be, I guess, Logano starting 7th, who, historically is amazing at leading laps here. Not so great at finishing races. Elliott, who does tend to lead some in the front of the Chevy line, starting 9th. But even then, those
it's not that bad,
still borderline.
9th is acceptable, but not the best. Yeah.
Bowman, but you have too many. 12th is decent. Bell led a lot at Daytona, starting 10th, but I'm not like overly thrilled about any of these plays. Very thrilled about playing, like a Blaney starting 21st. I think a lot of people will be.
You and everybody else, Taco. You and everybody else. That's the problem, right?
And everyone wants to spend their salary, so I think people will be heavily abusing these guys up top. But I think if you fade Kyle Larson, that's just a big enough pivot away from the slate that you're going to be like unique no matter what.
Look at these ownership. I don't know if people can see this on screen. If you can't, that's why you should be signed up for DFS Army, so you have access to these types of breakdowns for all sports all the time. Cheat sheets are great, notes are great, and research stations are great. And who the hell else has research stations like this? No one has anything like this. So anyway, looking at this here, the ownerships, Kyle Larson, 55% owned.
That's the big play. This determines the whole slate.
Kyle Larson starting 38th. If he finishes the race, he is going to be in the winning lineup.
Yep. Starting dead fucking last.
So what kind of DFS player are you? Are you going to embrace the chalk? Are you going to fade the chalk? I unfriend you, Bobby Wow style. What kind of DFS player are you? Like you can't hide from it today. This is very obvious. You've got a guy starting at the rear who's massive chalk, who is a lock button to be in the winning lineup if he finishes. I'd put Chastain in the same mix. Chastain starting 32nd. He's a crash tain for a reason, especially like this dude is crazy. He will crash you out if you overextend yourself on him. And then you have Stenhouse, like three of the crashiest guys starting from the back that are massive chalk.
See, I don't think it's as simple as if he finishes the race, because if he finishes the race in like 20th, he doesn't get there based on what we've seen.
But Larson doesn't finish 20th unless his car is fucked. Like
he regularly finishes mediocre at super speedways is the thing.
I mean a clean race. I'm talking about his car is not smashed up. Like when that happens, it's because his car is all banged up, but he's still driving. But you put Larson in there with his full vehicle and his team and the whole thing. Starting 38th, he's going to get up in the top 15. He'll finish in the top 15 no matter what. Unless he's all banged up.
I watched these races and I never see him up front, really. He's kind of all over the place.
His super speedways have not been the best. Let's look at his recent finishes, and you're right. I mean, if you want a reason not to play this guy, Look at the car. The Larson finishes 32nd.
We have a whopping 1 top 10. I mean, we're
It's
really
ugly.
really worried about like top 15 will put him past 50 points. That's really the threshold of like breaking the slate, I guess, or being like a super mandatory play. But we have seen some years where 50 points it doesn't even break the top 6.
It would be close though, but
So he would need a top 15 to be to the point where you need to play him, right? If he just has a whatever day and finishes like 20th, which is still possible even if he doesn't wreck, he won't be like mandatory, right? But if he wrecks out, of course, you're dancing if you fade him because that massive ownership is just going to be plummeted.
he'll take
Pretty
out
much
55.
exactly what we saw at the Xfinity race.
So much of the field, so much of the field is gone when he wrecks out. It's really tough. This is, or do you go in the middle and you say, all right, I'm just going to play some Larson. I'll go. I think
you can make stands elsewhere if you really want to. It's just a potential angle here. I think that's like one of the easiest ways to get leverage on the slate. It's just avoiding Larson, who is going to be over 50% owned.
Listen, if I'm handcrafting one lineup for this tournament, let's be real. There's no way that Larson is in it because I'm not beating everybody with one lineup with Larson in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to win it. So if I'm trying to win this, I'm not taking a 55% owned guy, and I'm probably fading Chastain, who's basically a similar play, but I think Chastain is probably, if he's not crashing, better at super speedways than Larson is traditionally. Like Chastain has wins here, at wins in super speedways. Like he's had first place wins. All right, he has one win. One. But still, it's a win. Here. Larson never did shit here, right? The problem with Chastain is he crashes at a higher level.
Yeah, he's also a very aggressive racer. They kind of fall into the same sort of category.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, right. But then again, we're trying to balance this. If this is Daytona, I'm really much more comfortable fading these guys harder. But the way you've described the lack of cautions and this being less crashy,
there's also not a shortage of really, really good plays that I like.
That's fair. So anyway, those are the two. I would say, would you put those two and Stenhouse in that like crazy chalk danger zone? Is there anybody else that pops for you? I guess Blaney.
Man, I think usually I just play the back like 5 guys and I'm chilling. I think I actually excluded Stenhouse from that just because he's Stenhouse, but like I think he's like an elite tournament play that I want to be overweight on.
Stenhouse.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see what Stenhouse has done.
Because it's either checkers or wreckers for the guy, but he has so much top 10 upside, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean he's gotten a first place at a super speedway. Looks like Daytona.
Multiple times he's won here.
He's got a 10th in Atlanta. He does have a win here many years ago, but hasn't been the greatest recently. But yeah, he's been fine. Yeah, starting 30-30 is just as good as anybody.
If he finishes, I mean, he always puts himself up front there. It's just a matter of whether or not he finishes. That's why he's very, very GPP type play.
Yeah,
and there's some safer options for cash.
Mr. 5 Cents is a big back tester. He's talking about fade the top 3. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Not just back testing, by the way. We also just looked at the last 5 races here or 6, and
there hasn't been a guy starting up front that you've needed to play since Dale Earnhardt Jr. retired. So I think we're safe. We're safe in that regard.
And let's talk real quick about the math behind that. The reason that happens is because when you're there are so few laps here, and because you're not getting fast laps when you're leading, you're not getting those double points. There's only 188 laps, and it is impossible to lead a track like this the entire time, or even most of it. It's unusual.
There's 2 guys in this field that can do that. Used to be 3, but with Keselowski not on Penske anymore, I'd take him out of this group. But it's only Logano and Blaney can do that here.
There we go.
And even then, they haven't really been like this. Lead is going. The lead's going to get changed up a bit more. It's kind of what we've seen with the next gen car at these super speedways.
Yeah. All right. So you talking Penske? Let's stick with that theme. And you mentioned Penske and another team that is now aligned with Penske, Front Row, which are supposedly really good here. and at super speedways. So let's just go through those names, because you say Penske as if like I'm supposed to know who drives for Penske.
Luckily, it's a giant bright yellow on our team's row here. So
It is nice to have a research station for this purpose, to understand who the hell's on what team, because you always talk about what team people on, and I'll be honest with you, I forget it.
If you look at Keselowski and take out the last 4 races and go back, that's all Penske, all those wins.
So
Penske regularly wins this race on repeat.
There he is, but Keselowski's also awesome. Let's not forget, he's really good at this. So we've got Penske here. That's Blaney, and that's J-Lo.
Yep, and Cindric, who has actually done really well at super speedways overall.
God. Are you telling me I have to account for Cindric?
We do not account for Cindric this week. He started second.
All right, thank you for that, because that's the last thing I want to be accounting for.
Yep, and you can throw the other 2 in there, starting first and third. That'd be McDowell and Gilliland, who we've seen. Gilliland led over 50 laps at Atlanta.
It feels like we're just going to fade these guys, even though I like them. Like normally I would like this, but yeah. So we don't even have to worry about the front row guys, because they're starting in the front row. Fuck that, right?
Yep. And with McDowell leading over Gilliland, hopefully if there are some, if they have that absurd speed again, can lead a whole bunch of laps, at least it'll be split between them. This
is the kind of thing where I'm gonna hold on. I just gotta share this. Listen, if McDowell or Gilliland are winning today and are in the winning lineup, I'll be looking at this next year at Talladega going, yeah, I didn't win that shit. That's how it went.
I mean, so they dominated the crap out of Atlanta and Daytona, but they weren't anywhere near the optimal, because Gilliland can't finish races. He finished 26th and 35th, despite leading all those laps.
I'm telling you, if they win and if they're in the nuts lineup, I'll just like that other one, I'm going to look at it and go, wow, yeah, that didn't play out in a way that I ever would have won. So I'm just going to accept it.
Ultimately, they're not that guy. They're not Dale Jr. They're not going to put up a performance like that. And that's what you would need to start.
So effectively,
here and win.
The only Penske / front row driver that I really even need to account for, there's only 2. It's really just going to be Blaney and Logano, with Logano being that guy that you want to fade. He's starting 7th. You're kind of like, this guy's super unlikely, but that could sneak in there, fuck you over.
Somewhat playable on FanDuel, so I'd put him as
I'm gonna allow it even on DraftKings, just a little taste.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go crazy.
He can hold the lead for a hot minute here, but I mean, Blaney is just the most apparent, obvious play.
Blaney starting 21st with the win odds, as good as about as good as they get. Look at, by the way, another thing to observe here is just how Vegas just is like, we don't know.
It's always like this. It's the field. You can see how equal the field is, even if you go down towards the bottom. Usually you'd have a good handful of 500 to 1,000 to 1 guys, but I mean, they put McLeod and Ware down there. Both of those guys have top 10s at Daytona, somewhat recently.
Not as much here, though.
Possible.
Again, not as much here.
You get less of the entire field wrecking here. But we have seen guys in similar spots like Greg Gaulding and shit just have random ass top 10s, or Alfredo has nothing but top 10s here, really. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into the actual, we'll run through these cars. We don't need, part of this is you'll see in the notes and everything that there's only so much you could really figure out here. A lot of it's going to come down to carnage and starting position.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into this here and talk about who are some of the top plays, who are some of the fades, and all that good stuff.
Yep.
You were just talking about Ryan Blaney. He's a core play. He's winning here all the time, starting 21st. What's not to like about Blaney, Taco?
Yeah, the dude wrecked here and still won a couple years ago.
I think the ownership that you have projected here is too low.
No, because Hamlin and Keselowski are right there. We're going to be taking ownership from him 100%.
Okay.
Keselowski, of course, you have good odds too.
Yeah, and then you have the expensive guys starting far back. So,
it's really Larson. Larson's sucking up so much ownership. I think it's going to make Blaney playable. I hope Blaney ends up kind of lower.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This isn't scaring me off, the 34%. I hope it's right. That's what I'm saying. Feels a little too low, but I hope you're right. So Blaney, really great play, probably the best play based on ownership, and if he's going to be lower owned than the guys in the 30s.
So I have my favorite play, but I actually have a best play, but we'll get to him. I'll let
Okay.
you know. I'll remind you.
I hope it's Colo.
I did actually find a best play on this slate.
You did? All right. Well, I hope it's Colo.
It's not a guy I like typically, but
I'm trying to see what's the play that wins us the tournament.
We'll get there.
The more salary left, the better. I get it. All right. So Mr. 5 Cent, this is it from back testing. I'm just gonna. That is good, and Daytona and all of that is great. We do have a uniquer setup. You like how I added that at the end of unique? A uniquer setup.
It is true. Because
this week.
Like yesterday, all the 5K plays were like good and starting in the very back. If you look this week and go to the bottom, a lot of these 5-6K plays are just shitty guys overqualified.
Yeah, we're throwing them out. But also, we don't normally have this many kind of what I would say really good super speedway guys starting 20th or behind that are expensive, to where I am not necessarily thinking that you have to leave a ton of salary on the table on this one.
Yeah, you don't have to go out of your way to do it.
Especially do not.
If it cost you like Blaney shares.
Yesterday we did, Taco. Yesterday
you could leave 15K and that lineup was immaculate.
And again, we had members who after the race said, whoa, I was uncomfortable leaving over the salary. I just spent it. That's why you had the Hill and the Allgaiers in so many lineups together. I was like, what are you doing? Well, because it's hard not to click on the more expensive guy. But I think this one's different. So Hamlin. Hamlin's good at super speedways.
Yep. And Keselowski is too. That's what's going to spread the ownership out, I think, a little bit from it just being Blaney chalk. If these guys qualified like decently, Blaney would be incredibly chalky.
Blaney, Hamlin, and Keselowski are all very good. Maybe really
one of these three, I think, could go low owned. Now, I'm hoping it's Hamlin, but I also think more likely it's going to be Keselowski, which I'm not as thrilled about.
I like it. I don't care. I don't care about the team. Keselowski's good at this.
Yeah.
He is personally good at driving this way. He's good at super speedways. I don't care. Fuck Penske. Keselowski's still a great play. I think one of these three and maybe two of them will be in the winning lineup.
Yeah,
I'm leaving it out there. I'm leaving
6 wins here. The dude knows what he's doing for sure.
Wait, what are we saying?
He's
good at this. He goes to the other team, he's still going to win. He's still going to be good at this.
Still Ford's like this is the one spot where Ford's great.
There you go. And even Ford can get it done. Willie Byron starting 12th, less good. Here we go. I love it. We're avoiding
him and Elliott, him and Elliott, like we see Hendrick run really well here overall, usually at the very front of the Chevy line once they get like separated by manufacturer. It's just, looking back, it's like the case for starting top 15 guys is just not insane. And Byron, I just much prefer at Daytona.
He just doesn't score as well. So so that one of these could get there, but you really want to limit it to in any particular lineup to not more than one. I'm just not going to have two from the top 15 in any lineup, period. So if that's the way that this race plays out, then okay, I'm going to take my lumps and move on. But you got to have some sort of approach, right? And that's how I would do it. Kyle Busch starting 4th, no go. Logano, Elliott, these are Bubba, very mediocre plays. Of this group, your favorite is who, Taco?
I'm sorry, which group was it? I was looking
Logano, Busch, Wallace,
Logano,
Byron. It's got to be Logano, right? Penske.
Overall, Logano, just because I would play Logano on FanDuel. If you're talking just DraftKings, though, it'd be Bubba. Bubba can run up front here.
Oh, okay. All right.
But overall, I kind of like Logano is the best chance to win, certainly. Like, he's that guy. When he gets the lead, he's the best at holding on to the lead. Him and Keselowski are, like, really skilled at that.
You know, if you full fade Logano and then you're watching him just lead lap after lap after lap. And what's funny is he's doing that, but it's not really ticking off many points because every lap takes like.
He also hasn't finished this race in forever.
Yeah.
His best finish here in the next gen car is 25th. Obviously due for regression, but he has struggled with just staying alive. So go to watch this with my dad. My dad always roots for Logano, and he's been pretty depressed the last few times we've gone.
Why does he root for Logano? Like, what is
this guy? His favorite number growing up was 22. I think Bill Buckner. So 22 car makes a lot of sense.
Random reasons for rooting for people, right there. 101 from Taco.
Some dad stuff.
Yeah, that's some.
Shout out dad.
Yeah, shout out to dads who just like use the numbers as their basis for reasoning.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Shout out to what do you call them? Khaki shorts, white socks, New Balance, shoes,
dad core,
white golf hat, standing by the grill.
Yeah, I'm more of a Nike Monarchs guy myself.
Bro, as long as the sneaker is either mesh or white, you're okay. Can't be anything cool.
A black Monarch guy, man. It's like the old white man version of Black Forces. Anyway,
let me put it like this, man. I haven't bought a pair of sneakers outside of Costco in like 10 years.
Oh, okay? Man, that's tough.
They come from Costco. It's not simple.
The Kirkland brand kicks.
Not the Kirkland brand. No, they get the Adidas and the Reeboks in there.
All right.
Come on. Not the Kirkland Sig. Not the K-Sigs. No, not that. All right. We're coming to this is an important part of your decision-making process today. The most important part of your decision-making process. That's right. It's so important. I went Canadian in the accent to emphasize it. Process.
This is where I recommend fading a 5-star play on my notes. Don't you love the hypocrisy here? But I mean, it's just what it is. So cash play, obviously, you 360 slam dunk that shit right in your cash lineup. I think everyone else is going to do the same, obviously. On paper, if you run the race 100 times, he's probably going to be optimal a lot. But the upside you get from fading him is awesome. And Larson loves to wreck.
Larson loves to wreck. He loves to play heavy. And I'm going to ask you one question here. We know it's 55% owned, guys. This is a tournament, a GPP, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best thing that you can generally do in GPPs as a hobby, as a habit, is fade the chalk, right? This is just a repetitive thing that you should do when you play DFS. Look for the chalk and fade it like Bobby Wow would do. That's how you win the million. Okay? It's that simple. Now, a lot of people come into these shows and they say, well, you didn't tell me not to play the best play on the slate. I don't know what to tell. Like, the explanation here should carry itself. When you fade the chalk and it hits, you're going to feel really, really stupid. And you're going to be like, how did I not play Kyle Larson? He's in third place. He's putting up a 77. And he was starting 38th, and he was kind of cheap. And what was I thinking? And then 5 minutes later, when he crashes, you can be like, oh, yeah, I'm a sharp player. I knew to do that. Right? Like, it's that simple. It's circumstance. We don't know if he's going to crash. The chances are Kyle Larson is going to be in the winning lineup if he finishes this race. Although there is some evidence that he's just not that good at this track. And maybe not. 55% owned. Make your decisions. Taco, what are you doing with this? Fading it?
In GPP, I'm going to be heavily underweight on Kyle Larson this week, and that's going to be the fun stand. And, wish this race was on 420, but if it was yesterday and Kyle Larson crashes, we are smoking that Kyle Larson pack, baby. Obviously, safer play would be to just play him or just play at the field and do other stuff. But, it's Talladega. We're not here to be safe, baby.
And here's, some questions from the crowd. Like, can you go 10-5? Yes, that is a fade. By the way, if you're 20% Kyle Larson,
20%'s a hella fade.
You faded the shit out of it. You don't have to go zero. Guy, I'm going to tell you right now, Taco, I won't be over 40% on anybody on this track. Nobody.
Yeah, half the ownership works too. I mean,
yeah, I won't be going unless you have like some sneaky
0% seems really annoying. I would just not have a good time watching the race if it was like 0%. But if at 0% he wrecks out, it'd be pretty lit. But there's also the chance that he wrecks out later on in the race, or there's just so many people that wreck out, he ends up like duct taping it back together and doing okay. It's a lot of options here, and he's not like even expensive because I think word is out that he's not the best super speedway racer. That's why he's not priced up with the Blaney's of the world.
Yeah, it just hasn't been that good here anyway. So there's that, right? Now, this is what I was saying. Fading him does not mean you have to unfriend him. Although if I was handcrafting lineups, I would.
I'd unfriend you. That's not
for like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention that the way that last week's tournament was won for me was by fading Larson specifically on the pole. But that was a different kind of a fade, right? Like that was the fade of everybody's playing this guy in the pole. If he just drops back and doesn't lead a ton of laps, blah, 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 you've already won your fade. So
way easier to fade.
Yeah, easier to fade that situation than this one where there he needed to win in order to come through for the 50% that played him, or 60 last week. It was crazy. This week he just needs to not crash, which is really kind of different. Ross Chastain, aggressive guy. 32nd overall, slightly lower ownership than Larson. I would say more likely than Larson to finish top 10 if he finishes this race.
Yeah, seems fine by me. I'll definitely play a lot more of the Chastain. I was willing to put core on him. I can't put core on someone that's 55%. I just can't do it. I just mark him as chalk.
I like that you wrote cash.
But Ross, yes.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Ross play here.
There's a lot of ways.
Larson's existence will keep his ownership from being too crazy, but he's still a really good play. Yeah. He's not that far different from Larson here.
He's inexpensive also, which is noteworthy. We get a bunch of fades after Chastain. So Larson, Chastain, decisions to be made. Part of the decision process for those two is also they're not expensive. So it's not like when you're playing Hamlin or Keselowski or Blaney, I can't afford these. You could totally afford them too. Like there's no issue with affording studs. So Chastain, also great play. Probably more likely than Larson to I would say Chastain, if he finishes the race, but he's very crashy. He's crashier even than Larson. But if he finishes the race, Chastain's in the nuts. He's not going to get.
I like Chastain because he's the type of aggressive who will wreck the field while riding away scot-free.
Yeah,
I'll fuck with that.
Yeah, I like him. You want him on your side.
Yeah,
you don't want to go against that lunatic. You ever have one of your friends that's so crazy and he's kind of annoying, but you keep him in your friend group because when the shit goes down, you want that guy on your side.
Essentially,
so yeah, like
with Mellow Man.
He's a little crazy, and yeah, it's like we get into a little more shit when hanging around with him, but you want that guy on your side.
Ready for a mad fadeable range here?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a shit zone. I unfriend you.
I mean, Bell has looked really good at super speedways recently, but starting 10th, I still think you just don't play him off of principle.
I think you can.
Bell has been quite good.
You could play these guys, Taco. It's one of these assholes who's going to be the nut that you didn't play.
Yeah.
I don't want to say assholes.
I mean, that was exactly what Bell was at Daytona.
Yeah, it's one of these guys. Now, it's all right. Let's break it down.
Toyota's their numbers have kind of been an issue before with like 23XI and stuff coming in like that. It's not as bad as before for sure.
You can't fade Reddick starting 18th. It's not that different from anybody else.
Oh, I can't because I just don't think it's a great spot for Reddick. Reddick's still like track type specific. You catch me at the next intermediate, I'll be all over Reddick again. He was so fast last week.
Busher starting 8th. It's a little too much. He needs to win to have a shot at it. Truex starting 6th. Absolutely terrible at this type of track. It needs to win to even be in the conversation, and could win and not be in the nuts.
Truex is not winning here. He is not that guy. Truex is like the easiest fade, I think.
Weird things happen. You never know, but yeah, you don't need that. It's not. You're not fading anything when a guy's 4% owned.
Yeah,
you're not sharp.
It is an unfriend.
Yeah,
what I mean. Easy unfriend.
Let's see who might have some relevance. So Recky Stenhouse.
I wanted Bowman to qualify lower because he's actually really good at super speedways. The few times that he has wrecked, which he doesn't wreck as much, but the few times he has wrecked here at this track, he like got wrecked out from like first place, second place, like just from being there watching the races. Bowman is actually impressed more than most of the Hendrick guys outside of Chase. Chase has been impressive, but Bowman always feels like he gets screwed here.
I'm gonna address this question. So Robert Hughes is asking if it's better to go 3 uniques to get lower overall exposures to each driver. Is it better to do 1 unique and cap exposure? I think you can make a mix of that. And what I'll probably do, Robert, is I'll probably have it set for 2 uniques. I'll see what it looks like between 2 and 3, but I will absolutely have caps on every driver that needs a cap. I'm going to disallow probably more than 40% on any one driver, and that's just what it is.
I hate unique. I never use uniques, but this is super speedway is the one place where I can go, okay, I could see using uniques here.
All right, so let's just dive into that for a second. Earlier you said it's not likely that the winner of this will actually be the true nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where uniques are.
You don't need to go chasing the specific Stone Cold nuts.
That's where uniques are more acceptable. So if I'm playing in this tournament or any tournament where I'm very, very confident that the nuts will be achieved, and by the nuts
next week at Dover, for example, Dover's super predictable, very much like Richmond, where everyone like the nuts is going to be tied like 10 times. Then you don't want to play uniques.
There it is, right? You're getting too cute. Here, you don't need to get. There it is, Grim Mary.
You don't need to be optimal to win here. Absolutely.
If you don't need to be optimal, that's when having more uniques is beneficial. Again, this plays out in back testing. So when you're doing your back testing, this is something you should be looking at. All right, what one was it? The nuts. Well, how do you do the nuts? You optimize by Final Fantasy points, and the first lineup that comes up was the nuts lineup for that tournament, and then you look at what actually won, and you say, oh, that wasn't what won. This was a revelation for me, Taco, in when I back tested tiers for NFL, where no one ever hits the nuts, and I always thought they did. And it revolutionized my approach because originally I was doing 1 unique, and I was able to lift it up to 3 uniques and have much better success, just accepting that the nuts wasn't needed to win most of them. Anyway.
That's why, back testing here, you gotta keep in mind, it's just you absolutely do not need it.
There it is. I mean, Mr. 5 Cent is giving it to you right here. And I'm assuming you back tested Talladega, Mr. 5 Cents, because 30 to 35% cap, 2 DOMs, 2 uniques. That's exactly the kind of approach I'd be using. Although I might allow, like I said, some of these guys, because it's Talladega and not Daytona, I'm going to float it up a little bit higher on my max exposure on a couple of these guys.
See, I still like the Atmos one just because, you could do the 2 DOMs and go for the optimal, I guess, which works sometimes. But in my opinion, that's lame, really lame, and it's just not as fun. I want to only root for people wrecking each other and flipping each other because that's badass.
That is so much.
And I will die on that hill.
Yeah, and it's a much more fun race to watch. And the best part about that, it's like what happened to me yesterday in that track, where for 90% of the race, I was like, oh, my lineups are shit. I was way in the back because I played all play stiff. And then as the
Daytona. And the Daytona before that one.
Exactly. Like every Daytona.
It always happens at the end, especially those lower series. Those lower series, you can guarantee there's going to be carnage at the end because they don't know how to fucking drive.
Well, they also want to win.
Yep.
So that helps at the end. When you want to win, you get crazy.
You've seen it more in the Cup
restarts.
Series too, even. The young guys, they don't give a fuck.
Recky Stenhouse starting 33rd, really good. But we're coming up on, there is one guy that I think you can actually allow more than 40% on. We're getting to him in a minute. I don't want to say the name.
There's a guy I'm saying 60% of easily.
I hope it's the same guy that I'm thinking of.
Well,
I'm not sure.
It's different than the play that I think is actually the best on the slate. But again, we're getting to this range.
All
you
right,
can start to see the green everywhere.
I'm excited to hear about
Let's talk about Recky first.
Guys, by the way, if you're enjoying this break, hit the like button, subscribe, notify, share it. Do something out there. I don't know what, but do something. Hit like it,
Do
subscribe
something.
to the channel, notify, tell
Headbutt the
your friend.
like button. There you go.
Tell you, or just sign up for DFS Army, promo code TACO, 10% off. Do it now. We're raising prices.
Sir.
You want to lock in. One nice thing about DFS, you lock in the price when you're in here. We don't have the ability to raise it technologically. Once you're in for life, unless you cancel, right? It never changes. I got people in DFS Army at $16 a month. Trust me, they're breaking us, but we can't change it. They're here. Lock in now because we're raising the price again before NFL season because every other site has raised the price massively and we're still below everyone and our shit's better than theirs. So yeah, we're going to raise it. Do it now. You're like, I don't know, I'm going to wait till football season. Everybody who wants to wait, you got people locked in at 40. It's going to be 100. I'm letting you know, VIP. It's going to go to 100. Do it now. All right.
So Stenhouse.
That's my man.
On an island here. I guess salary doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Stenhouse is going to be massively owned, 35%.
Yeah.
Again, he's a great play. He's good at this kind of track.
Everyone knows this is the only spot where he can get his wins. He's got 3 wins at super speedways. Starting 33rd. Yeah, for GPP, this is like one of the best GPP plays you could make. He hasn't finished a Talladega race in forever, or at least finished like well. But the upside is always there. We saw the same thing at Daytona. Had a pretty bad stretch for a minute of some bad finishes, and then next thing you know, boom, wins. Because even when he's wrecking out of these races, before he wrecks out, he always gets to the front. Like he is skilled at this style of racing. Stenhouse, you can't take that away from him.
Stenhouse. I just truly feel that if he finishes this race, if he drives,
it's gonna be top 10.
Yeah, if he drives it clean, he's gonna be in the nuts, and so like accept it, deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It was a good play to go heavy on.
Deal with it. There's a lot of guys though. There's so many good drivers.
I have him as what, like the 3rd highest, 4th highest, like right there with like Blaney.
Yeah,
so that's tough.
It's up there.
He's worth it.
We got a trio of kind of turds here. Ty Gibbs starting 15th, Cindric and Dylan unplayable where they're starting 2nd and 5th. Ty Gibbs, all right, fade GPP. I agree with you. And then we get
just starting top 15. The rules. But he's also never ever finished a Dega race yet. But
he's young.
He will eventually.
Yeah, he's young. But we go from the bad zone here to the good zone. Another little good
the
zone.
Austins. No Austins today. If you're playing Austins today, please take my head-to-heads.
Could we just never play Austin ever? Any of them? The Dylan, the Cindric.
Well,
no, I don't.
If Cindric starts in the back, he never starts in the back because he overqualifies every single week.
It never works with these guys. I feel like we can go back like 3 years of NASCAR, and neither of these clowns are ever in a winning lineup.
I think Cindric's been some in exactly these kind of races, but not qualifying second. He doesn't.
Not starting second.
Let's start this good ass range. Look at this range. Look at all that giant green block here. This is what we're about. This high
is
6,
really
low 7K range. Beautiful.
Yeah. You need these guys. So I actually think, Taco, that I actually, again, I'm going to disagree with these ownerships. I think they're too high. I think this is a group that's going to get overlooked.
I hope so.
I think so. Dennis thinks Larson's going to come around and win. I don't think so. I think this group, Taco, is the underlooked. I think the ownerships are too high, and no one's going to play. Not no one, but these are going to be overlooked drivers. No one's going to click it.
I sure fucking hope so.
You love Jones. All right.
You can lock in the LaJoy's. LaJoy's always going to be popular, right? Starting 31st. Let's get that out of the way.
I got to talk. I was saving LaJoy just to let you know if I needed to go over
40%. He's always starting in the 30s and always finishes like in the top 15 consistently. Always bringing in 30% plus ownership. I don't think that stops. Gregson, I'd be willing to accept. Maybe I'm a little bit too high on, but starting 36, it just seems so obvious.
No, it's Briscoe. No, Briscoe ain't getting 25%. Suarez is not getting 25% either. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
The play I had saved for later is actually, I think Briscoe has the chance to go really low owned. He's honestly the best play on the slate, in my opinion.
Whoa!
Just looking at it, I'm not a Briscoe enjoyer. He's actually like really good here, and runs consistently well at these super speedways, and does not get ownership. like ever. Like he was the nuts place differential play at Daytona, and no one really played him. He was like the key to victory there.
I played him.
I'm more of an Eric Jones stan. I'm going to continue to play the fuck out of Eric Jones forever at these super speedways because he's pretty godly here. But Briscoe, very, very, very strong play who will be much lower owned.
I think this group is just such a strong group.
Pretty decent.
This
I
whole group,
think he will be popular with the win at Atlanta.
this range, this group, underowned. I don't think, like I said, I think these ownerships are going to be too high on the entire group.
And I think people see Suarez just won last super speedway race. His form here is like 8th, 9th, 11th, starting 25th. He'll be popular, right?
You're so good at this.
Jones,
I want to side bet this with you. I want to side bet this with you.
Hmm.
You're awesome at this and way, way better than I am. But I just am looking at the numbers, and I think that these guys are going to get a little overlooked. This whole group.
This whole group?
Yeah.
Okay, bet.
Not Gregson, but
this is great because if I lose that bet, then it's terrific for me because I'm going crazy on these guys.
That's what I'm saying. I want it to be true.
Like LaJoy, I guarantee you he's that high owned.
Colo, no. I'm talking about the
Jones. I guarantee you is that high owned. His track history here is fucking insane. It's all top tens.
Which one?
Jones.
Yeah. All right. So Jones, love Jones, 29%. It's Suarez and Briscoe, though those are the ones that I think you're not going to see as many lineups as you would expect.
Briscoe is under 20% owned. We were feasting.
Yeah, he might be.
That's a good play. He also has like good history here.
I think
he has one wreck in 6 starts. The other 5 finishes are all top 15s. He needs 4th in this race last year. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Suarez has good odds too. But yeah, I could see him. I could see Suarez as the odd guy left out here, but it's just that Atlanta win is pretty nice. And now he has that win in the bank too, so he kind of has nothing to lose really. He doesn't need to take like the 5th place finish. He can go for a win.
Suarez is just somebody that's going to get overlooked every single time. He just hasn't been that guy. Yeah, he had a lucky win here or there, but he's going to get overlooked. I'm telling you, these guys are not going to be. People are not building around this group.
Go look at Suarez's recent finishes at super speedways. I think your mind may be a little bit changed.
I'm with you. I'm not fighting this. I love it. This is what I want, just to be clear. But let's take a look at Suarez and let's see what he's done here. And if I could figure out where to find him, there he is. Okay, so 11th, 2nd, 20th, 7th and 8th, 6th and 4th. Here 11th, 9th, and 8th. Oh, he's so good.
Yeah. That's why this whole range, that's why I have these guys like projected so high in ownership. Like these are very, very, very good plays.
I mean, look at Jones, 6, 6, 6. This is the mark of the devil.
No, yeah, he's a beast here, if you know what I mean.
The mark of the beast for Eric Jones.
And that 27th, he was running up front the entire race. Like
he's so good.
Bum luck. He is so good.
So there it is. I mean, talk about your plays that come from track history, that come from driver skill. This is where you want to be, and it will take you off of the chalk guy that never does well here.
Eric Jones also just the eye test, just from like sitting and watching. He's like been the most like visually impressive to me because he's always going forwards, never going backwards, just always pushing forwards. There we go. I'll take it. Even like the Daytona duels and shit, he was like really good. Brandon Coots says best of luck today. Hey, Brandon was a big ass winner yesterday. I saw him winning all those tournaments. Had one hell of a day. Except for the one I was in. He took my chrome horn. Soloed that bad boy. Nice. That's awesome. And Jay, yeah, that's right. Sick Hemi. Taking down mini maxes like a champ. Yeah. Love it. He had a screenshot up here somewhere. I'm not going to bring it back. I think Gregson's what we need to kind of talk about here because let's get back to not this. As like a parent of a good play. Like the other guys are like, yeah, of course they rate out really well, really good history and stuff here. Gregson, you just play him because he starts in the very back. 36th overall, got to play that guy. Does he have any history of not being terrible here? He's fine. History is not really a thing. He was top 10 at Daytona. Like, this is the first year in this ride. We don't
So he
really
could drive.
know.
He could drive a super speedway. That's all
Yeah.
we need to know. He could
He
do
did
it.
a shitty car last year and still managed to get like a couple of good finishes. Yeah, none here really, but it's just we see 36. We click play. That's how this goes.
Let's go real quick. Michael McDowell.
I unfriend you.
It's very simple. Kill a
I
priest.
unfriend you.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Gilliland.
I unfriend you.
It's not how this works, Taco, or it is how it works.
Yeah, I fade the top 3. Even with what Gilliland's done, even if he has like insane speed again, he's not going to finish the race. If anything, nah,
he's out.
That's
but
too cute for me. I'm not that cute.
Now I skipped over 2 names that are interesting. Of course, Colo is my favorite driver, as you know.
He's gonna be right there with Jones for me. I just play these guys at every super speedway. I do well at every super speedway, mostly thanks to these guys. So shout out LaJoy, shout out Jones.
Let's look at some of it. This guy came in 5th place on this track.
Yeah, usually he's a Daytona guy, big Daytona guy, but
10th place in Daytona, 5th place here, 4th place in Daytona. Like, this guy has been very, very good at super speedways. Here's what it is. All right, I'm going to explain something here. These are great drivers that generally have shitty cars, right? And then you have a super speedway where it's all kind of leveled out. And that's his opportunity to shine. And the winners take their opportunities when they're given them.
If you're doing like 2 separate builds and doing like a separate run for like say 15% of your lineups, and you're being a pussy and you're hedging that there's gonna be a green flag race or whatever.
Don't be a pussy.
Yeah, if you are doing that, then in those runs you should probably lower the fuck out of guys like LaJoy, who's going to be high owned, and but
he probably needs a little bit of carnage to get
he's
there.
Still good. He's still
can get there. That's what I'm saying. Even without carnage,
but he's going to be popular. That's the bum thing about LaJoy. That's what keeps me from being too enthusiastic about him. Is he's going to get that ownership?
Love Colo though. Love him more when he's not high owned.
Who's not going to get the ownership though, and it's going to start in the same spot as Josh Berry.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
No ownership on Berry. So, yeah. What's the? He's just not been good at these.
He's more of a short track guy. Now this car technically finished runner up here last year. Don't really care about that necessarily. I don't think the field cares about that either. Odds aren't great. He's really never had a good super speedway finish. Of course, he's barely raced in the Cup Series, but 29th at Atlanta, 25th at Daytona, whatever. In his spot starts last year, he's 22nd at Daytona, 18th at Atlanta in the Chase Elliott car. Like, we haven't seen shit from him. And starting 29th, there's something about like being 29th and not being 30th that just doesn't activate the neurons in these brains.
This is what I'm saying about Suarez and Joe.
He's the 1999 of drivers.
It's the 2 in front of the name. It's just like it's the MMA fighter that's under 7K.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to click the $6,900 guy. It's just difficult. You don't want it.
But he's got some of the worst odds of anyone here. It's just, there's a lot of plays that you can like make reasons for. There's not really much of a reason to play Barry outside of, his ownership compared to LaJoy might get to the point where it's hard to ignore it. He just becomes like leverage.
I kind of think if you're playing Barry, you might as well just go back to Carson Hocevar.
Yeah,
one of these other guys that is just starting a little further behind, but it's the same win condition, which is just carnage.
Yep.
All right, let's
Carnage doesn't like to be Carnage doesn't like to choose the most deserving guys to crash. It's usually one person making 5 innocent people crash while driving away scot-free.
Carnage is my boyfriend.
It's a cruel mistress.
Do you hear what I just said? It's a Taylor Swift line.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the pop culture. Nemechek starting 20th. And I don't really like this at all.
He's finished 8th here twice, but it was in the what is now the Gilliland car back in like 2020, 2021.
I don't know if it matters. Even if you
finish Daytona, he's pretty. I don't know. Starting 20th, yeah, he is just very.
I don't know. I like I said, I think if he finishes 8th, he's not in the winning lineup. So I don't. He needs to probably. So Nemechek, if you want to play a guy starting 20th,
he's like a single entry kind of guy for me. It's like low owned.
He needs to finish top 5. He needs to finish top 5. Mr. 5 Cent is a big Taylor Swift guy.
He's a tortured poet.
He's a big Taylor Swift guy. That's cool. I like T-Swizz. I'm not a hater. Okay. Hocevar. There's some hosts in this house starting 35th. Nothing not to like here, Taco. Why only cash? Too high owned? What's the story?
No, it's just, I mean, he's like a super obvious cash play, right? Just starting the very back. It's the move.
We've only ever seen him wreck here. I mean, how many times has he even been here? Hocevar hasn't even been
3 super speedway races like ever. And he finally finished one in Atlanta. Finished 19th. That was pretty cool. But yeah, we just don't really know with Hocevar.
Yeah, it's a new guy. Whatever.
Fire overall. Yeah. But we're still playing him because he's starting 35th. Very cool.
Yeah, all good. Listen, even BJ McLeod at 37th is viable. And
that's kind of the thing I'm looking at here is like most people, the lowest they'll go is Hocevar. There's no real need to go lower than them. But there are a few plays I kind of circled down here that I'm interested in.
You like Haley a lot. Great super speedway driver. Not the best equipment. That doesn't matter much here. Good sneaky GPP play. Justin Haley, unowned.
Yeah, his finishes here in the next gen car, 12th, 15th, 18th, 7th.
Fine by me.
20th at Atlanta, like not bad.
That's a winning run. Again, we need about we've seen the score that you need. You need about a 52. You need about a 50, let's call it, to be in the winning lineup.
I mean, his ownership versus Hocevar, and they're not starting in the exact similar spots. But yeah. And BJ's another one who's the ownership's low enough. You can compare him directly to Carson Hocevar. McLeod is just going to sit back, be off the pace. If there's a giant wreck, he's someone that you'd only run if you're playing for Carnage. Because without Carnage, why would you play him? If you're playing for Carnage, which you should be, because that's based, then you should play BJ McLeod. He's going to sit back, avoid the big-ass wreck, and finish top 20. It's kind of his win condition. Obviously, of course, Daytona much better for that. So yeah, of course, I see McLeod is like going to be 10% or lower here probably. If it was Daytona, maybe it'd be a little bit higher.
Yeah,
but these are the kind of plays
a lot
that you
higher.
would expect to be chalking up on. It's just like that range of like guys who qualified in the top 20 or just overqualified that kind of keep this 5K range from being as juicy as it usually is.
Can we just unfriend this whole zone right here beforehand? I mean, you have them all as
We'll say, man, SPG has been really good at super speedways and Xfinity, but qualifying 17th, can't really play that.
He looked pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, starting 17th, there's no way. Hemrick also top 20 in both of his runs this year at super speedways again, but no. Again, starting top 20. Harrison Burton, I hate him, and he's starting too high, so I'll definitely not play him. That dude sucks. That dude cannot finish the super speedway race. Okay, well, he actually can.
Fefo starting 24th. I don't like it, but do you?
It's weird because I think this 38 car is just so good here because, John Hunter Nemechek had the 2 8th place finishes, right?
Yeah.
Fefo's took over that car.
Beard.
Finished 12th and 10th. No, both of them. I'm talking about the 38 front row.
Okay.
The one that Gilliland's in now and starting up front. All those guys just consistent top 10 runs in that car. And then Gilliland has been doing the same thing. Dude, that car is just so fucking good here. Yeah, if you look at combined driver history for that specific car, it's 13th, 10th, 7th, 27th, 10th, 12th, 8th, and 8th. That's absurd. But he's starting third, so it doesn't matter.
I'm still not playing Gilliland, man.
Yeah.
I don't care. So,
but I think, a lot of it may have been the car. But I mean, Alfredo looked really good yesterday for a lot of that race. And then he was like up front, but then he started to look like dog shit. Like he barely hold it together. I think he did manage to hold it together at the end of that race, but man, it was chaotic. Starting 24th though, this Beard car, I much preferred it, Like it's changed hands so many times now. Who even knows what to make of this car? I definitely preferred it in the actual Brendan Gaughan days. Now it's like,
I feel
I can't
24th
be too thrilled
is
about it.
starting. The 24th starting spot is just a little. It's not a good spot. It's
No,
a little too high.
it would have to be one of those things where the whole last field wrecks, and if that's the case, I mean, he's probably wrecking at least like once or twice.
No, if that's the case,
yeah.
McLeod is fucking doing it. Like,
Yeah, man, if that's the case, I'm taking BJ, bro.
yeah,
we love
yeah. Take
BJs.
McLeod at that point. If the whole field wrecks, it's going to be BJ that's up in 18th place, just in the nuts lineup. Like, fuck you, 5% owned, bitch.
Yes, sir. BJ top 20 here last year in the spring race, dude. I want that to happen again. That would be sick.
Give me that at 4. This is, by the way, and let me. So as we broke this down, Taco, what happened yesterday was, right? Yesterday, Xfinity version. What happens? We had this chalk group that were place diff guys. And it wasn't the chalkiest ones. It was the
a second tier. Yeah, that ended up being really good. Tier. It was that Briscoe level, of like good plays, but the second tier of good plays to where no one plays them because optimizers are just jamming the top guys.
It was the second tier group, the Honeyman.
Yep.
Can't find the Honeyman. Couldn't find him until he's winning the tournament.
Now, McLeod, I don't think we can expect some Honeyman things, though, because Honeyman was like actually running up front and doing shit.
Yeah, it wasn't just
Honeyman. This is going to be more of McLeod just got to sit back and hope everyone wrecks in front of him. That's exactly what's going to happen here.
I'm going to go look for my lineup if I posted it.
So McLeod is like the ultimate go cheap, be different, cool play starting in the back. There's one final play we got to talk about, and it's I call it the gremlin play.
Cody Ware?
If you're a fucking animal, you'll play Cody Ware today.
Oh, wait.
Back from a long suspension for beating woman.
Hold up. I'm now reading this. What the fuck was he doing? He was beating women?
Beating woman. Yes, he's back, baby. Back racing.
They brought him back after that?
Yeah.
They lack drivers?
Well, is Rick Ware Motorsports, and his name is Cody Ware, so I'll let you be the judge of
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Was it his wife or just random women at the bar? Like, what is this guy doing?
I think it was his wife. I don't remember exactly. He went to jail.
He went to jail for it? And they're like, yeah, we're putting him back on the team. And who's sponsoring
took a year off,
Who sponsors the car? Like Kotex? Like, I don't what company is like, yeah, I want to sponsor that guy.
If you're a menace to society, then you're loading up on Cody Ware today.
Dude, if he can make me money, I will play him in every fucking lineup. You think I give a shit?
I don't. That's where it's like, He has a 6 at Daytona. Pretty interesting. He has a few good Daytona finishes. If this was Daytona, I'd be interested. He hasn't really done shit at Talladega, like 19th place finish. But, Rick Ware, they have their RFK alliance kind of this year. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Rick Ware was like, that bitch deserved it anyway, Cody. Get back in the car. Like, what the fuck?
No comment. No comment.
I'm just saying that's what they're putting him back. Who's sponsoring this car, Taco?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't keep track of that shit.
What sponsor is putting their sticker on this one? Like, we got the Cody Ware. Sponsored by Fantasy Cruncher.
Calm down.
Sorry, I get a little crazy an hour and 15 into this. All right. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this one. Really interesting track. Taco says you're not based if you don't play for the wreckage. But yet, past history shows that this is a much less carnagey track.
This could go green, right? It's like one of those races where if things got a line at the end, we could have like caution on caution overtimes. Assuming they actually want to throw the flag based on yesterday, I guess they don't want to. Poor Ryan Ellis, but it could just as easily just finish, right? Like all the wrecking could happen on the white flag, and then it's whatever. So yeah, it's just a wide range of what could happen here, and cautions breed caution. So hopefully we get some people flipping over.
Let's go. I'm for the call. I'm for the wreckage. I'm for all of that.
The front of the field crashing. I fucks with that. That's why yesterday was so badass.
Yeah, that was awesome. You can't have that happening all the time. Like, it doesn't always go that way.
It is
like,
lower series shit. Yeah. But.
Yeah, that's like, but it also went the way we wanted, and it's so unusual. But like I said, what was beautiful about yesterday was watching all the DFS Army guys just posting their wins, and last week too. What a freaking call!
And the week before,
the notes were so the last few. It's been all of an NASCAR season.
I expected the short flat tracks were really, really good at those.
But
yeah. Even Texas, the fucking most cursed track there is.
Love Texas.
Crush Texas. Yeah.
Give me Texas. Let's run that
predictably
again.
Unpredictable.
Yeah, let's run that again. Let's give me Texas.
Let's get 15 cautions again.
Give me another track that's unpredictable where the guy start. The pole sitter gets 55% ownership. What happened last week is crazy. Let's get another one.
Yeah, next week's going to be more of a return to Richmond, a return to Martinsville, like very, very predictable. It's Dover. Just play Martin Truex Jr. and hope it gets rain delayed. Easy, done.
Sounds good to me.
Don't need to do a pod next week. Just play Truex. Ask for rain.
I love a lock button. I love a lock button, or any track where it's like delayed.
Play Hamlin. Play old people.
Yeah, play the old guys.
Play old motherfuckers next week. There you go.
Adjust your mind today for this.
Yep.
For this track, it's unique, it's different. It's Talladega, it's Daytona, it's Atlanta. They play a certain way.
You know what to do.
Yeah, they play a certain way, and then we'll be back to taking top 10 drivers next week. It's fine. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Don't worry about playing Cody Ware. We're not moral people here. We're trying to win some tournaments. I don't leave their personal shit. I don't let that get involved in my decision making. But I do love your call.
Haley Deegan's not in this race. Everyone's safe.
We're good. Haley's safe from
Haley
Cody
almost
Ware.
Won yesterday.
I just mean Haley's safe from Cody Ware because he cannot be around women at all. Unsafe. They had to get and I love your calls. The Jones, Briscoe, Suarez trio, where they're going to be lower owned, they're in the 20s, and that's probably where I think I'll choose to get my over the field leverage as well, and under the field on the chalk guys. That's how I'm playing it. Taco, final thoughts.
All right, rolling up a blunt. This one, the name of this blunt will be Kyle Larson. I hope that at some point during this race we get to smoke on it. If not, it's whatever. It's fine.
Should I pour out some Blue Moon for Larson at some point? I'm going to prep one.
For all the dead homies, all as they wreck.
Boom. Little Blue Moon. One for me, one for my homies.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's all right, what we're going for this week.
Good luck today, everybody. We got NBA a lot of other things going on today, but I'm
NBA playoffs have been cool.
Yeah, been great.
Looks like he doesn't give a shit and just puts up triple doubles. Like, it's amazing.
NBA playoffs is another one, guys. Fade the chalk. Fade the chalk. What are you doing? Fade the chalk. If he did good yesterday, he will do bad today.
Fuck,
that's an NBA
Russell.
All right, that's gonna do it, guys. Let's fucking rock. We got a few hours till this race starts. Good luck, everyone. Taco, thanks for the breakdown. Can't wait to make these lineups.
Helmets up.
Helmets up. Let's fucking go.